Story 1. I've been working at this coffee shop for 3 years now. Started as a part-time job while finishing my business degree, but I stayed on full-time after graduation because I genuinely love the work. There's something satisfying about crafting the perfect latte and seeing customers' faces light up when they taste it. The pay isn't amazing, but the tips help, and my manager treats us well. Our cafe is one of those cozy neighborhood spots that attracts regulars. We know most customers by name and their usual orders. The atmosphere is warm and friendly, exactly the kind of place where people come to relax, work on laptops, or catch up with friends. We have ceramic mugs for customers who dine in and paper cups for takeout orders. Pretty standard setup. Most of our customers understand how things work. If you're staying, you get a ceramic mug. If you're leaving, you get a paper cup. Simple system that's worked for years without any issues. Last Tuesday around 2 p.m., this woman I'd never seen before walked in during my afternoon shift. She was dressed in business attire and seemed impatient from the moment she entered. She kept checking her phone and tapping her foot while waiting in line. When she reached the counter, she barely looked up from her phone. Karen, large latte, extra hot, to go. Me, coming right up. That'll be $5.50. She handed me her credit card and continued scrolling through her phone while I made her drink. I prepared her latte exactly as requested, extra hot, and our standard to-go cup with a lid and sleeve to protect her hands from the heat. Me, here's your latte, have a great day. She glanced at the cup and her expression immediately soured. Karen, what is this? Me, your latte, ma'am. Large, extra hot, to go. Karen, this is a paper cup. Me, yes, that's our standard to-go cup. Karen, I want it in a ceramic mug. Me, I'm sorry, but ceramic mugs are for customers who are dining in. You ordered it to go. Karen, I don't care what I ordered. I want my latte in a proper cup, not this cheap paper garbage. Me, if you'd like to stay and enjoy your drink here, I'd be happy to pour it into a ceramic mug for you. Karen, I don't have time to sit around. I need it to go, but in a ceramic cup. Me, ma'am, we can't give you a ceramic mug for a to-go order. The ceramic mugs stay in the shop. This seemed to really set her off. Her voice got louder and other customers started turning to look. Karen, this is ridiculous. I'm paying good money for this coffee and you're giving me some flimsy paper cup that's going to leak all over my car. Me, our to-go cups are very sturdy and designed specifically for hot beverages. They won't leak. Karen, I want to speak to your manager. Me, of course. Let me get him for you. I called my manager over. He's been running this place for 8 years and has always been supportive of his staff. He's also seen his share of difficult customers. Manager, how can I help you today? Karen, your employee is refusing to serve my latte in a proper cup. I want a ceramic mug. Manager, I understand your preference, but our ceramic mugs are for in-house dining only. For to-go orders, we use disposable cups. Karen, that's the stupidest policy I've ever heard. What if the cup breaks in my car? Manager, our to-go cups are very durable. We've never had issues with them breaking during transport. Karen, this is unacceptable. I demand you put my latte in a ceramic mug right now. Manager, I'm sorry, but I can't do that. If you'd like to enjoy your drink here, we'll gladly serve it in a ceramic mug. That's when she completely lost it. She grabbed the paper cup and hurled it directly at me. The hot coffee splashed across my apron and shirt, and some of it hit my arm. It was hot enough to sting, but thankfully not hot enough to cause serious burns. Karen, there. Now make me a new one in a ceramic cup. The entire cafe went silent. Other customers stared in shock. My manager's face turned red with anger. Manager, that's assault. You need to leave immediately. Karen, I'm not leaving until I get proper service. Manager, you just threw hot coffee at my employee. You're banned from this establishment permanently. If you don't leave right now, I'm calling the police. Karen, you can't ban me. I'm a paying customer. Manager, you're a paying customer who just assaulted my staff member. Leave now or I'm calling 911. She seemed to realize she'd gone too far, but she wasn't backing down completely. Karen, this is discrimination. I'll be leaving terrible reviews everywhere. Manager, that's your choice. Now leave. She finally stormed out, slamming the door so hard the bell above it kept ringing for several seconds. My manager immediately checked if I was okay and helped me clean the coffee off my clothes. Then he did something completely unexpected. Manager, everyone, can I have your attention for a moment? The customers who had witnessed everything looked up. Manager, what you just saw was completely unacceptable behavior toward my staff. This employee has been nothing but professional and courteous. I want everyone to know that we don't tolerate customers who abuse our team members. He walked over to the tip jar on the counter. Manager, all the tips collected today are going directly to this employee, with an additional contribution from the store. Several customers started applauding. One woman approached the counter. Customer, I saw what happened. Here's an extra tip for dealing with that gracefully. She handed me a $20 bill. Throughout the rest of my shift, customers kept mentioning the incident and leaving extra tips. Word spread on social media about what happened, and we actually got an influx of supportive customers over the next few days. The total tips that day came to over $200, nearly double what I usually make. But more importantly, I felt supported by my manager and the community. Karen never came back, though she did follow through on her threat to leave bad reviews online. Most people could see right through them, especially after other customers started sharing their own positive experiences and the story of what really happened. Sometimes people think they can get their way by being aggressive and unreasonable. It's satisfying when that strategy completely backfires. Story 2. I work as a delivery driver for a local pizza place, and I've been doing this job for about 3 years now. It's decent work. I get to drive around town, listen to music, and the tips are pretty good on most days. The only downside is that I'm constantly filling up my car with gas, sometimes twice a day during busy periods. My usual gas station is this place on the corner of Main and 5th Street. It's nothing fancy, just a regular station with 6 pumps and a small convenience store. The staff there knows me pretty well since I stop by so often. The manager is this older guy who's always been fair with everyone and keeps the place running smoothly. So there I was last Tuesday, running low on gas after delivering pizzas all morning. I had about 6 more orders to deliver before my shift ended, and my fuel light had just come on. I pulled into the gas station and immediately noticed something weird. A huge white luxury car was parked sideways across 3 pumps, completely blocking them. At first, I thought maybe someone was having car trouble or something. I parked at one of the remaining pumps and started filling up my tank. That's when I saw her, this woman in expensive clothes, strutting around like she owned the place. She was on her phone, talking loudly enough for everyone to hear. Karen, yes, I told you to meet me here at 2 o'clock. I saved the good pumps for us. I glanced at my watch. It was already 2:30, and there was a line of cars starting to form. People were clearly frustrated, honking their horns and trying to figure out how to get around her massive vehicle. An elderly man approached her politely. Elderly man, excuse me, miss. Could you move your car? People are trying to get gas. Karen turned around with this look of pure disgust on her face. Karen, I'm saving these pumps for my friends. They'll be here any minute. Find somewhere else. Elderly man, but there are only 3 other pumps, and they're all occupied. Karen, not my problem. I got here first. The elderly man shook his head and walked back to his car. I finished filling up my tank, but instead of leaving, I decided to go into the store. Something about this situation didn't sit right with me. Inside, I found the manager behind the counter looking stressed out. Customers were complaining about the blocked pumps, and he was trying to handle phone calls at the same time. Hey, what's the deal with that car blocking the pumps? Manager, That lady claims she's reserving them for her friends. She's been out there for over an hour now. I've asked her 3 times to move, but she won't listen. Me, can't you do something about it? Manager, I'm about to. I've already called the towing company. Just then, Karen burst through the door. Karen, why are people honking at me? This is harassment. I demand you do something about these rude customers. Manager, ma'am, you can't block 3 pumps like that. You need to move your vehicle. Karen, I absolutely will not. I'm a paying customer, and I have every right to be here. My friends are coming, and we're going to need those pumps. Manager, you can use 1 pump when you need it. You can't reserve multiple pumps. Karen, do you know who I am? I spend hundreds of dollars here every month. I could have your job. The manager stayed calm, but I could see his patience was wearing thin. Manager, I understand you're a regular customer, but the rules apply to everyone. If you don't move your car in the next 5 minutes, I'll have it towed. Karen's face turned bright red. Karen, you wouldn't dare. This is discrimination. I'm going to call corporate and have you fired. Manager, that's your choice, ma'am. But your car needs to move. Karen stormed out, slamming the door so hard the bell above it nearly fell off. Through the window, I watched her march back to her car and continue her phone conversation, completely ignoring the growing line of frustrated drivers. About 10 minutes later, a tow truck pulled into the station. The driver spoke briefly with a manager, then walked over to Karen's car. She was still inside, still on her phone. The tow truck driver knocked on her window. Tow truck driver, ma'am, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Karen rolled down her window. Karen, what? Why? Tow truck driver, your car is being towed for blocking the pumps. Karen, you can't tow my car. I'm a customer. Tow truck driver, I have authorization from the manager. Please step out. What happened next was like something out of a movie. Karen started screaming at the top of her lungs, claiming this was all illegal and that she was going to sue everyone. But the tow truck driver had heard it all before. He calmly attached the chains to her car while she stood there having a complete meltdown. Karen, this is theft. I'm calling the police. Manager, feel free. They'll tell you the same thing I did. You can't block multiple pumps. As the tow truck started lifting her car, something beautiful happened. All the customers who had been waiting in line started clapping and cheering. Car horns were honking in celebration. Even the elderly man she'd been rude to earlier was smiling and giving thumbs up. Karen was absolutely furious. Karen, you're all horrible people. This is a conspiracy. But nobody cared anymore. People were finally able to access the pumps, and the gas station returned to normal operation. The manager walked over to me as I was getting ready to leave. Manager, thanks for being patient with all this. Me, no problem. I've never seen anything like that before. Manager, unfortunately, I have. Some people think the world revolves around them. As I drove away to finish my deliveries, I could see Karen in the distance, probably waiting for a ride, while her car got hauled off to the impound lot. I heard later that she had to pay over $200 in towing and storage fees to get it back. The best part? I drove by the next day and saw a new sign posted. Maximum 20-minute limit per pump during peak hours. Violators will be towed at owner's expense. Sometimes justice really does prevail. Story 3. I've been working at Golden Coast Seafood Buffet for about 2 years now. It's one of those all-you-can-eat places that attracts families on weekends and seniors during the week with our early bird specials. The job isn't glamorous, but it pays decent, and the tips from happy customers make up for dealing with the occasional difficult person. I started here right after high school when I was trying to save money for college. My parents couldn't afford to help much with tuition, so I needed to work full-time while taking classes at the community college nearby. The restaurant manager liked that I was reliable and willing to work different shifts, so she trained me on everything from seating customers to restocking the buffet stations. Working at a buffet restaurant teaches you a lot about people. Most customers understand how it works. You pay your entrance fee, grab a clean plate, and serve yourself from the various stations. We have hot entrees, a salad bar, soup station, and the crown jewel of our buffet, the seafood section with crab legs, shrimp, and fresh fish. The seafood is definitely our most popular attraction, especially the crab legs. They're expensive to stock, so management put up clear signs at the station, limit 2 servings per customer. It's a reasonable policy that lets everyone get their fair share without us running out too quickly. Most people respect the limit. They'll take their 2 servings, enjoy them, and maybe come back later if we've restocked. But every once in a while, you get someone who thinks the rules don't apply to them. That someone turned out to be this middle-aged woman who started coming in about 3 months ago. She always arrived alone, usually during our dinner rush when the seafood station was freshly stocked. From the first visit, she made it clear she thought she was special. She had this entitled attitude where she'd walk past the host station without waiting to be seated, grab the biggest plate she could find, and head straight for the crab legs. The first few times, my coworkers and I tried to politely remind her about the 2-serving limit, but she'd give us this look like we were idiots. "Karen, I'm paying the same price as everyone else. I should be able to take as much as I want." The thing is, that's not how buffets work. The pricing is based on average consumption, and if everyone took unlimited amounts of the expensive items, we'd go out of business. But trying to explain basic economics to someone who doesn't want to listen is impossible. She'd pile her plate high with crab legs, completely ignoring the limit signs. When other customers saw her doing it, some of them started taking more too, thinking the rules had changed. It created this domino effect where we'd run out of crab legs within the first hour of dinner service. My manager started getting complaints from other customers who arrived later and found empty seafood trays. Families who came specifically for the crab legs were understandably upset when there weren't any left because a few people had hoarded them all. We tried different approaches. We put up bigger, more visible signs about the limit. We had servers stationed near the seafood area to gently remind customers about the policy. But Karen just ignored everything and everyone. Last Friday night was particularly busy. We had several large families celebrating birthdays, and the dining room was packed. I was working the floor, refilling drinks and clearing tables, when I noticed Karen walk in during the peak dinner rush. She did her usual routine bypass the host, grabbed the largest plate we had, and marched straight to the seafood station. But this time, there was already a line of customers waiting patiently for their turn. Karen walked right past everyone and started piling crab legs onto her plate. The other customers looked annoyed, but didn't say anything at first. One elderly gentleman who had been waiting politely cleared his throat. "Elderly man, excuse me, I think there's a line here." "Karen, I'm a regular customer. I don't need to wait in line." She kept loading up her plate, taking what must have been 6 or 7 servings worth of crab legs. The other customers started looking around for staff to intervene. I walked over to try to defuse the situation before it escalated. "Ma'am, there's actually a 2-serving limit on the crab legs to make sure everyone gets some." "Karen, that's ridiculous. I'm paying full price just like everyone else." "I understand, but the policy helps ensure we don't run out too quickly for other customers." "Karen, I don't care about other customers. I want my money's worth." Her voice was getting louder, and the families nearby were starting to stare. Some parents were trying to distract their kids from the scene she was making. "Karen, this is terrible customer service. I've been coming here for months." That was true, and unfortunately, she'd been causing problems for months too. I could see my manager watching from across the dining room, probably trying to decide whether to intervene. Karen kept piling more crab legs onto her already overflowing plate. At this point, she had probably taken enough for 4 people. The other customers in line were getting visibly frustrated. "Woman in line, this isn't fair. Save some for the rest of us." "Karen, mind your own business. I got here first." Except she hadn't gotten there first. She just cut to the front of the line like she owned the place. Me, ma'am, I really need you to follow our serving limit policy. Karen, your policy is stupid. All you can eat means all you can eat. She grabbed even more crab legs, and that's when my manager decided he'd seen enough. He walked over with that calm but firm expression he gets when he's about to lay down the law. Manager, is there a problem here? Karen, yes, your employee is harassing me about taking food from a buffet I paid for. Manager, actually, the problem is that you're ignoring our clearly posted serving limits and disrupting other customers' dining experience. He pointed directly at the large sign right in front of the crab leg station. The words "limit, 2 servings per customer" were printed in big, bold letters that nobody could miss. Karen, that sign is just a suggestion. Manager, no ma'am, it's a policy. And since you've repeatedly refused to follow it despite multiple reminders, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Karen, you can't kick me out. I already paid. Manager, we'll refund your meal, but you need to leave now. The dining room had gotten noticeably quieter as other customers watched the confrontation unfold. Karen looked around and seemed to realize that everyone was staring at her. Karen, this is discrimination. I'm going to sue you. Manager, you're welcome to contact corporate, but right now you need to gather your things and go. Karen, I'm not leaving. I'm in the middle of eating. She had been so focused on hoarding crab legs that her plate was still completely full. She hadn't actually eaten anything yet, just piled up enough seafood to feed a small family. Manager, security will escort you out if necessary. That threat finally got through to her. She realized he wasn't bluffing and that making an even bigger scene wouldn't help her case. Karen, fine, but I'm never coming back here again. Manager, that would probably be best for everyone. She grabbed her purse and stormed toward the exit, leaving her overflowing plate of crab legs on the counter. My manager calmly redistributed the seafood back to the serving trays, and the line of patient customers finally got their turn. The elderly gentleman who had tried to politely point out the line smiled at me. Elderly man, good riddance. Some people think the world revolves around them. The rest of the evening went smoothly. Other customers thanked us for handling the situation, and several people mentioned they were glad to see someone finally enforce the rules fairly. Karen never did come back, which honestly made everyone's job easier. The seafood station ran much more smoothly without someone hoarding all the crab legs, and other customers seemed to enjoy their meals more knowing the policies were being enforced. Sometimes standing up to entitled people is the only way to protect everyone else's experience. Story 4. I've been working at this family-owned pizza place for about 2 years now, and it's honestly the best job I've ever had. The owner is this really cool guy who actually cares about his employees and the community. He pays us well, gives us flexible schedules for school, and always has our backs when dealing with difficult customers. I started here when I was still in college, just needing something part-time to help with expenses. My previous job was at a big retail chain where management basically threw us under the bus whenever a customer complained. This place is totally different. The owner always says that respect goes both ways. We respect customers, but they need to respect us too. The pizza place has been in the neighborhood for about 15 years. We're not fancy, but we make really good food and people know it. We get a lot of regulars who've been coming since day one, plus college students and families. The owner also does a lot for the community. Every week he donates leftover pizza to the homeless shelter downtown, and during the holidays he sponsors meals for families in need. Last Friday evening was busy as usual. I was working the register while my coworker handled the ovens. We just finished the dinner rush when this woman walked in. She looked around the place like she was inspecting it for health code violations or something. Me, good evening. What can I get for you tonight? Karen, I want a large pepperoni pizza, but I need you to make sure the pepperoni is distributed evenly. I don't want any crooked toppings or messy placement. I thought that was a weird request, but whatever. People have their preferences. Me, sure, no problem. We always try to make our pizzas look nice. Karen, I'm serious. I've had bad experiences at other places where they just throw toppings on carelessly. This better be perfect. Me, I'll make sure the kitchen knows. It'll be about 20 minutes. She paid and sat down at a corner table, checking her phone and looking around impatiently. When her pizza was ready, I brought it over. It looked great. The pepperoni was evenly spaced, the cheese was perfectly melted, and it smelled amazing. Me, here you go, 1 large pepperoni pizza. She opened the box and immediately started frowning, moving her head around like she was examining a piece of art. Karen, this is unacceptable. Me, I'm sorry, is something wrong? Karen, look at this. The pepperoni on this side is clearly crooked compared to the other side, and this piece here is overlapping with that one. This is not what I ordered. I looked at the pizza. It looked completely normal to me. Maybe 1 or 2 pieces of pepperoni weren't perfectly centered, but that's just how food works when it's made by humans. Me, I can see what you mean, but it's really just a slight variation. The pizza is cooked properly and has all the toppings you ordered. Karen, slight variation. I specifically told you I needed the toppings to be perfect. This is sloppy work, and I'm not paying for sloppy work. Me, you already paid when you ordered. But let me get my manager to see if we can work something out. I went to get the owner, who was in the back checking inventory. I explained the situation, and he just shook his head. Owner, another one of these, huh? Let me handle this. He walked over to her table with his usual calm demeanor. Owner, good evening. I understand there's an issue with your pizza. Karen, your employee made me a defective pizza. The toppings are crooked and messy. I demand a free meal to make up for this poor service. Owner, I see. Well, let me take a look. He examined the pizza for about 10 seconds. Owner, you know what? You're absolutely right. This pizza isn't up to your standards. Karen, finally, someone who understands quality. Owner, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a full refund, and I'm taking this pizza back. He closed the box and picked it up. Karen, wait, what? I still want the pizza. I just want it free because of the poor quality. Owner, oh no, I couldn't let you eat a pizza that doesn't meet your standards. That wouldn't be right. He walked over to the register and pulled out $40 from the cash drawer. Owner, here's your refund. Have a great evening. Karen, but I'm hungry. I want my pizza. Owner, ma'am, you just told me this pizza was defective and demanded a free meal. I can't in good conscience serve you food you've deemed unacceptable. You're welcome to order something else at full price if you'd like. Karen, this is ridiculous. You can't just take my food away. Owner, actually, since I refunded your money, it's not your food anymore. It's mine, and I know exactly what I'm going to do with it. Karen, I'm calling corporate. Owner, we're an independent business. There is no corporate. But you're welcome to leave us a review wherever you'd like. She stormed out, muttering about lawsuits and bad service. After she left, I asked the owner what he was planning to do with the pizza. Owner, same thing I do every Friday. This is going to the homeless shelter on my way home. Me, really? Owner, yep, that pizza is perfectly fine. Better than perfectly fine, actually it's delicious. The folks at the shelter will appreciate it way more than she would have. I watched him wrap up the pizza box and put it in his car. When I got to work the next day, he told me the shelter director had called to thank him for the donation and mentioned how much everyone enjoyed it. A few days later, I saw a scathing review online about how we stole someone's pizza and provided terrible customer service. But it was surrounded by dozens of positive reviews from people praising the owner's community involvement and great food. Several people had even commented on the negative review, defending the restaurant and calling out the reviewers' entitled behavior. That's when I realized why I love working here so much. It's not just about making pizza, it's about treating people with respect and standing up for what's right, even when dealing with unreasonable customers.